Silence. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Good morning, students. In the last class, we discussed about the electronic configuration of the elements. We discussed about the Aufbau principle, Horn's rule, Pauli's exclusion principle, and also how to configure electron in different subcells or orbitals of an atom. And we found that chromium and copper are having SS1 configuration. So not only these two, so many other elements are also there in this which have the SS1 configurations. But we discussed about the 30 elements. Out within the 30 elements, we have seen that the chromium and copper is having the SS1 configuration. Today, we will discuss about the reason that why the chromium and copper is having the SS1 configuration. What is the reason behind this? Then after, we will have a revision of all the classes which we discussed about this atomic structure. From starting to the end, the basic fundamentals, concepts, everything in this chapter we will have a discussion in the nutshell. Okay. Then after we will go to discuss some questions, some reasoning questions, okay, basing on the atomic structure. So this class is the most important because now we are going to revise all these fundamental concepts. Okay. So first of all, let us see about this the reason behind the SS1 configuration of chromium and copper. Okay. So electronic configuration of chromium. Okay. See chromium 24. So we have had 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p6, okay, 4s2, 3d4. So this is the actual configuration. So 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p6, 4s2, 3d4. It should be the electronic configuration. Okay. So after 3p, we are having 4s because 4s is having the energy of 4 plus 0 is 4, but 3d 3 plus 2 5. The 3d is in the 3 cell, that is 3s, 3p, 3d. Then after it is 4 cell, 4s, but because the energy of the 4s is less as compared to 3d, so we are giving electron first to 4s, then we are coming to 3d. Okay. So, but actually what happens here? So when we are going to give electron to this 4s fill up with 2, then we are giving 4 electrons to 3d. But actually what happens here? See, if I take in this case, we have in this case we have 3d 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We know we have the 5d also. Then 4s. So 4s 2 and 3d 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Now with this electronic configuration, so what happens when you see this 3d 4s. Now we have single electrons in 1, 2, 3, 4 d also. Now this one and this one is equivalent. So this can exchange its position to this one, okay, or this may exchange to this position, or this may exchange to this position. That means see the electron position here is in the 1 can go to 2, can go to 3, can go to 4. That means see 3 exchanges can be done with this electron. Similarly, this one can come to this one, can come to this one. 2 exchanges. Similarly, this one can come to this one. That means see your 3 plus 2 plus 1 equal to what? 6 exchanges can be possible. So if we have the electronic configuration of 3d4, the 3d4 configuration can go for 6 exchanges. This to this, this to this, this to this, number 3, this to this to 5, this 1, 6. Okay. So 6 exchanges are possible. Okay. Now see, if I have the configuration of 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p6, 3d5, 4s1, 3d5, 4s1, what happens here? You see, one, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1. In the 3D subcell, 3D electrons here, we have the 5 electrons which are singly paired. Now see, this electron can exchange its position with what? With this one, with this one, with this one, with this one. So this electron exchanges with this one, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 exchanges. Now this second electron can exchange with this one, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Now this one, number 3 can exchange with your this one, can what with your this one, 2, and this can exchange with this one, 1. That means what 10 exchanges. So with this electronic configuration, chromium can have 6 exchanges are possible. With this one we have only 6 exchanges. So more the exchanges between the electrons, more is the release of energy. So when the exchange energy released, the atom becomes more and more stable. So because here we have the 10 exchanges are possible, here the exchange energy is more, but here we have only 6 exchanges. So these 6 exchanges, so the exchange energy here is less. That's why this configuration is more stable as compared to this one. That's why the chromium will have an electronic configuration of what? 4s1 3d5 instead of 4s2 3d4. So this one is your wrong one, okay, and this one is what? The right one. Okay. Similarly, if I go for copper, okay, 29, we have 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p6, okay, 3d9 for s2. Okay, so here you see we have 3d9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. Here you see these 4 are paired. This is paired. Only one unpaired is there. So it is not. It cannot exchange its electrons. So because this is only one single pair is there. Okay. But when I will take copper 29. 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p6, 3d10, 4s1. Okay, so here you see one, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So here you see 4s becomes half filled stable, and now this 3d becomes a 3d10 completely filled. So here all the electrons are paired, and the pairing energy released makes the species more stable. So here more pairing energy, here what less pairing energy. That's why for copper 4s1 3d10 configuration is the most stable as compared to what 4s2 3d9. So that's why this is acceptable and this is not acceptable. Okay. So these are the reasons why the electronic configuration of chromium and copper are somewhat different. Okay. Now let us have a discussion. So this is all about your atomic structure. Okay. Now let us have a discussion on the atomic structure in a nutshell. Okay, whatever we have discussed during the last 6 classes. First of all, in the very first class we discussed about this electron, proton, neutron, okay, nucleus, molar atom. See, a simple idea of atom we can conclude. Now atom consisting of a central positive charge, that the nucleus, in the nucleus we have a proton and neutron. Outside the nucleus we have electrons. Okay. Now protons are the positively charged particles, mass equal to that of hydrogen. Okay. Now neutrons are the neutral particles, no charge, mass equal to that of proton. Electrons negatively charged particles, mass equal to 1/1837 that of mass of hydrogen atom. Clear? Okay. Now according to Rutherford, electrons are revolving around the nucleus in circular orbits like the planets revolving around the sun. So the electrons are also called as planetary electrons. Clear? But then after Maxwell came, Maxwell said what? Maxwell said that whenever electric charge is subjected to acceleration, it will lose energy. And because the electrons are the negatively charged electrons and are revolving around the nucleus in circular orbits, that's why the electron will lose energy. And when the process will continue, the electron will lose energy continuously. At a time, the electron will lose all of its energy, and that will fall upon the nucleus. The atom will collapse, and hence the molecule and the matter as well. But this is not happening. Okay, and Rutherford could not give reason for this instability of the atom, so his model of atom was discarded. Okay, and remember, before giving this model of atom, Rutherford first discovered the nucleus by alpha ray scattering experiments. So after discovery of the nucleus, he gave the model. Okay, but he also discarded. So then after we discuss about the electromagnetic radiation. So electromagnetic radiations or electromagnetic wave. Okay, so these are produced in a high source of alternating current. Any high source of alternating current can produce or can radiate energy in the form of wave called what? Electromagnetic radiation or electromagnetic wave, because these waves or radiations are consisting of both electric and magnetic field. Okay, and the examples are many. For example, see whatever kind of mobile communication we are using. See, whenever I am talking with any of my friend, or suppose I am talking with you over the phone. So whatever I am talking, that is a sound wave. Okay, that is taken by these mobiles. There are certain devices are there, and which devices are converting this sound waves into what are the electromagnetic waves. And these electromagnetic waves, just like a microwave, the microwaves, they are traveling, okay, through this space. Okay, and we are having the different towers for the mobile communications. The towers are receiving this microwave, and again they are sending this wave to the receiver. Okay, they again the mobile in the other part receives this microwave again. That microwave is again converting into what sound wave, and that person is listening. So the mobile communications we are using microwave. This microwave is one kind of electromagnetic wave. Similarly, also we know about the X-ray. We know X-ray, whenever any person's leg or hand is broken, then to find out the part, we are using the X-ray machine. So the X-ray machine is producing the X-ray. That X-ray is an electromagnetic wave. It consists of electric and magnetic wave. We are having the radio waves. The radio communications, we are using radio wave. That also one kind of electromagnetic wave. Many are there. We have cosmic ray, we have ultraviolet ray, we have infrared ray. In fact, we have the visible ray, light. Light is an electromagnetic wave. Okay, so all these electromagnetic radiations consisting of what? Electric and magnetic field, and they are moved like a wave. They have the crest, they have the trough, they have the frequency, they have the wave number, they have the wavelength. Okay, so all things will be discussed. Wavelength is the linear distance between any two conjugative crest or trough. Okay, measured in centimeter or meter or nanometer or angstrom or picometer. Okay, similarly frequency measured in hertz or kilohertz or per second. Now your wave number nu bar is equal to your 1 by lambda, and also this wave bar having energy E equal to h nu. Okay, and regarding this electromagnetic radiations or electromagnetic waves, Max Planck gave a theory called your Planck's quantum theory of radiation. And this Planck's quantum theory of radiation says what? Now whenever in an electromagnetic radiation the energy is radiated, and suppose it is also observed, then this radiant the energy is called what? Radiant energy. The energy radiated or that is emitted or absorbed in an electromagnetic wave or radiation is called what? Radiant energy. And according to Max Planck, the radiant energy is not emitted or absorbed continuously, okay, but discontinuously in small packet of energy known as quanta or photon. Okay, so any source, any radiation is losing the energy or absorbing energy not continuously but discontinuously. And again this discontinuous absorb or your emission of energy is by a small packets of energy called quanta or photon, and that is given by what? E is equal to what? NH nu. Okay, so here this is H nu is the photon. H nu is the photon. So a photon is a packet of energy, small amount of energy, and that small amount of energy multiplied by an integer is equal to what? The energy of the radiation. Okay, so because the energy is absorbed or emitted not continuously but discontinuously, and again only a certain amount of energy is radiated or absorbed, that means the energy is quantized. Okay, so this is called quantization of energy. So quantization of energy means what? The loss or gain of only a certain amount of energy. Okay, so taking this concept now again Bohr came into play and Bohr gave his model. Okay, so according to Bohr, what happens? Now the electrons are revolving around the nucleus in certain selected circular orbit. Okay, atom consisting of a small but heavy positive charge situated at the center, that is called nucleus. Okay, now the electrons are revolving around the nucleus in a certain selected circular orbit, and each orbit is having a definite amount of energy. Each orbit is associated with a definite amount of energy. Hence, these orbits are also called what? Energy levels. Okay, also called your cells. And the energy of each orbit is given by what? Minus 1312 into Z square by N square kilojoule per mole, where Z is the atomic number and N is the number of the orbit or the number of the orbit. And this formula we can use for your hydrogen atom or hydrogen like species, that is the for the single electron systems. Okay, so when we are talking about your hydrogen atom, it is minus 1312 by N square kilojoule per mole. And if you take the energy of the first orbit, then N is equal to 1. So minus 1312 kilojoule per mole is the energy of the first orbit of the hydrogen atom. This is called, and the first orbit of the hydrogen atom is called what? Bohr's orbit. So the energy of Bohr's orbit is what? Minus 1312 kilojoule per mole. Okay. And then after, if you go, if you calculate the energy of other orbits, second, third, fourth orbits, then accordingly divide by what? By 2 square, 3 square, 4 square, will go on. That means the energy will go on increasing, because the minus value there. So minus 1312 by 4, okay, will be more than minus 1312. Minus 1312 by 9 will be more than minus 1312 by 4. Okay, so the energy of the orbits will go on increasing when you move from nucleus away from the nucleus. Okay, and the electrons are revolving around the nucleus. Okay, with the certain energy, and as long as an electron revolves around the nucleus, it neither emits nor gains energy. Okay, so it gains energy only when it jumps from a lower orbit to a higher orbit, and it loses energy when it jumps from a higher orbit to a lower orbit. Like this, if this is the nucleus, I can see nucleus. This is one orbit, this is another orbit. The energy of E1, energy of E2. Then what? If the electron jumps from this to this, then what happens? E2 minus E1. Delta E equal what? E2 minus E1. This much amount of energy will be lost, will be gain by the electrons if you jump from this to this, and same amount of energy will be lost if the electrons wants to jump from this to this one. Okay, so lower to higher to lower, loss of energy, lower to higher, what the gain of energy. Okay. Now, and also while revolving around the nucleus, an electron possesses an angular momentum, okay, according to Bohr, which is an integral multiple of h by 2 pi. Okay, so L equal what? L equal what? MUR equal NH by 2 pi. So this also we discussed. Okay, so R is the radius of the orbit, R is the radius of the orbit, and U the velocity with which the electron is moving, and M is the mass of the electron. And also we have seen that if you want to calculate the radius of an orbit in an atom, it is 0.59 into n square angstrom. Okay. So if you want to find out the radius of the first orbit, it will become 0.59 into 1 angstrom, that is 0.59 angstrom. Okay. And for second orbit, it will be 0.59 into n square and 2 square and so on. Okay. And also according to Bohr, because the loss of energy, because the loss of energy is not continuous, it is discontinuous according to Planck's quantum theory. Okay, and only a certain amount of the energy the electrons can emit. That's why. So if I take, suppose this is the nucleus here, orbit. Okay, suppose the electrons are here, E4, your E3, your E2, your E1. Okay, now suppose the electrons jumps from this to this by losing energy E4 minus E3. Okay, then what E3 minus E2 here, then what E2 minus E1 here, and the electron will stop here. Because the electrons have to lose a certain amount of energy, and that is what, that the difference between the energy of the two orbits. So the electron will stop here. Okay, so it cannot fall upon the nucleus because the loss of energy is not continuous. The energy is quantized. That's why the electrons will not fall upon the nucleus. Okay, so this thing is given by the Bohr. However, then after the quantum mechanical view came into play by the de Broglie. So de Broglie said about the dual nature of electron, that the electrons can behave both as particle as well as wave. And according to de Broglie, so de Broglie gave the equation of Einstein and your Planck's. From Planck's equal to h nu, again from Einstein equal to mc square. So from this, by taking these two relations equal to h nu and equal to mc square, he derived the equation lambda equal to h by mu or lambda equal to h by p. That means the momentum, the lambda equal to h by p, that means the lambda proportional to what? 1 by momentum. And then he compared his concept with the Bohr's model, and Bohr's defined Bohr's angular momentum L equal to mu r equal to nh by 2 pi. So the definite orbit is being compared with your de Broglie's equation, and it is found that 2 pi r is equal to n lambda. So when 2 pi r is equal to n lambda, the electron found to be in phase, that means revolving around that particular orbit. And when the 2 pi r is not equal to n lambda, then the electrons will become so out of phase. That will be discussed. Okay. So then after the Heisenberg came, Heisenberg said about what? It is impossible to calculate the position and the momentum of a microscopic moving particle such as electron simultaneously with accuracy. That means at a time you cannot calculate the position and momentum both accurately. Okay. So del x into del p is equal to what? H by 4 pi, or you can say the greater than or equal to h by 4 pi. Okay. So this is given by Heisenberg. So from this Heisenberg we conclude that because we cannot find the position of electron with certainty, that means the Bohr's definite orbit has no meaning on the light of Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. Okay, so from this the concept of orbit and orbital came. Okay, so orbit is something where the electrons is revolving. Okay, it's a well defined circular path, whereas orbital is the three-dimensional region in the space where probability of finding the electron is maximum. Orbit is spherical only, but orbital can be spherical, dumbbell or double dumbbell. Okay, so then after we discuss about what are quantum numbers. What are quantum numbers? Quantum numbers are the set of integers which gives the position and energy associated with an electron. We have four quantum numbers: the principal quantum number, azimuthal, magnetic, and spin. The principal, azimuthal, and magnetic are derived from Schrödinger's wave equation, whereas the spin quantum number is not derived from Schrödinger's. Okay, principal quantum number indicates the main energy level to which an electron belongs. It is depended by the letter small n, and n equal to 1 to infinite. Azimuthal quantum number indicates what the substance present in a given cell, and small l is equal to what? 0 to n minus 1. So when we have n equal to 1, it is K cell, n equal to 2, it is L cell, n equal to 3 is M cell, n equal to 4 is N cell. Similarly, when L is equal to 0, it is S subcell, L equal to 1, it is P subcell, L equal to 2, it is D subcell, L equal to 3, it is F subcell. Similarly, the number of electrons that can be present in an orbit or cell is 2n square. So K cell 2, then your L cell 8, then 18, then 32, and so on. Similarly, the number of electrons that can be present in a subcell is 4l plus 2. So S subcell electron 2, P 6, D 10, F 14, and so on. Okay. Then come to your magnetic quantum number. Magnetic quantum number indicates the number of the orientations of subcells in three-dimensional space, that is called your orbitals. Okay, given by your small m. M is equal to minus L2 plus L. Okay, so when we have L equal to 0, S subcell, M equal to 0, or when we have L equal to 1, P subcell, M equal to minus 1, 0 plus 1. That is your Px, Py, Pz. And we have seen this is the P subcells have three types of orientations in the space. Okay, and these are dumbbell in shape. Similarly, D also we discuss L equal to 2, so M equal to minus 2, minus 1, 0, plus 1, plus 2. The dxy, dxz, dyz, dx square minus y square, and dz square. Okay, 5 orbitals are there. Okay, so then after we discover the spin quantum number. Spin quantum number indicates what the while the electrons revolving around the nucleus, they also rotate about their own axis like a top. Okay, so and this is called what spinning of the electrons. Okay, and this spinning of electrons in an orbital, okay, is one is clockwise and other is anti-clockwise. Okay, so what is your plus half, other is minus half. So S equal to plus or minus half. Okay, so this is all about what the quantum numbers. Then also we discuss about the electronic configurations of the elements. Before that, we discuss about different principles and laws, like Afbah principle. So what is Afbah principle? Afbah principle says what? Orbitals with lowest energy fills first. So those orbitals which have less energy, they will fill first. Okay, and accordingly we have seen we have 1s for each cell. For K cell we have 1s. For L cell we have 2s, 2p. For M cell we have 3s, 3p, 3d. For N cell, okay, we have 4s, 4p, 4d, 4f. So we have different substances: 1s, 2s, 2p, 3s, 3p, 4s, 3d, 4f, and so on. Okay, and these orbitals, the electrons will be filled up with your increasing order of energy. lowest energy will fill first. That is first 1s, then 2s, then 2p, then 3s, then 3p, then 4s, then 3d, and so on. So accordingly, we have seen the electronic composition of the different elements. Hydrogen 1s1, helium 1s2, lithium 1s2, 2s1, beryllium 1s2, 2s2, okay, boron 1s2, 2s2, p1, and so on. And in this electronic configuration, so okay, so what we are observing, s orbitals, we have 2 electrons, p we have 6, d we have 10, and f we have 14. Okay, so and by the way, when you come to your chromium and copper, there is some associated electronic configuration. Like your chromium, it becomes what, 4s1 3d5 instead of 4s2 3d4. Similarly, in copper it becomes 4s1 3d10 instead of 4s2 3d9. And now the reason already we discussed, this is because of what, the half filled and full filled orbitals are most stable. Okay, so when we have half filled orbitals, they are having more exchanges, so more exchange energy is released, hence more stable. When we have the fully filled, they are paired, the pairing energy released and hence more stable. Okay, and also we discovered your Horn's rule. Horn's rules of maximum multiplicity. What says it? So the pairing of electrons in a degenerate orbital like your p, d, f subshell is not possible until all the available orbitals contains the 1 electron each. Okay, so that is called what? So if we have suppose 2p, suppose we have 2p, 3 electrons, so then we will go for what? 1, 1, 1. Okay, so if I can like this, if I move like the 1, 2, 1, it's wrong, this is right. Okay, so this is called what? Horn's rule. Similarly, also we discovered what is the Pauli's exclusion principle. So what says it? Now, no 2 electrons in an atom have all the 4 quantum numbers so identical. Okay, so all the 4 quantum numbers in an atom is not equal. Okay, so if you take 2 electrons, so there can be 3 quantum numbers equal but not the 4th one. So if you have NLMS, NLM can be same but not this, because in a particular orbital spin quantum number one will be plus half, other will be minus half. This is called what? Pauli's exclusion principle. Okay, so this is all about the summary or all about the chapter atomic structure in a nutshell. Okay, so now let us have some questions basing on this atomic structure. Okay, few questions we will discuss. Okay, already we have the material, you solve the questions now, or you can then after you can ask the doubts. Okay, still we will have some few important questions. Okay, so these are some questions. Why electrons can't stay inside the nucleus? See, already we have solved these questions in Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. So in the Heisenberg's uncertainty principle, we know delta x in delta p equal h by 4 pi. Okay, we know the radius of nucleus is about 10 power of minus 14 meter. Okay, so if electron will be held inside the nucleus, then its uncertainty in position delta x must be 10 power of minus 14 meter. Okay. Now we know the mass of the electrons 9.11 into 10 power minus 31 kg. Okay. Now we put delta x into m delta E equal h by 4 pi. Now delta E equal h by 4 pi into m delta x. Okay. If you put the values of all this h value, pi, etc. Okay. Then already we discussed, we have solved this in the Heisenberg's principles class. So here the delta U will get what, more than 3 into 10 power 8 meter per second. That is more than the velocity of light. And that means if the electron will be inside the nucleus, then its velocity will be more than that of the light, which is not possible. That means electron cannot stay inside the nucleus. Okay. Similarly, Why energy of electron is negative? This also we have discussed already in the Bohr's model of atom. Okay, so when the electron is at infinite distance, there is no attraction between the nucleus and the electron. There we are taking the energy of electron as 0. Now when we come towards the nucleus, when we are coming towards the nucleus is attracting the electrons. Okay, and to counter the balance of the force of attraction of the nucleus, the electron is utilizing its energy. So it's losing the energy. So that's why its energy is decreasing, and hence we are taking the energy of electron as a negative. Okay. Now between Cu2 plus and Cu plus, which is the most stable? See here we can take out the electronic configuration. So if I see a Cu, you have what? Cu, 3d10 4s1. We have 4s1 3d10 with the electronic configuration of what? Copper, argon 18. Okay, argon 18 3d10 4s1. Now when we have Cu plus, that means see 1 electron. 1 electron will be lost from what? From 4s, because 4s is the outmost orbital. We will get what? 3d10. But for Cu2 plus, we will have what? 3d9. So 3d10 is a fully filled configuration, which is the most stable as compared to 3d9. Therefore, Cu plus is the more stable than Cu2 plus. Okay. So those are having the stable electronic configuration, that will be more stable. Okay. So because in Cu plus we have 3d10, but in Cu2 plus we have 3d9. So Cu plus is the more stable. Okay. Now Pauli's principle is also called exclusion principle. Why? Because you see, so what says Pauli's principle? No two electrons in an atom have all the 4 quantum numbers are identical. So suppose I will take 3 electrons in an orbital. Okay, so it's your E1, E2, E3, E1, E2 and E3. If I take, so suppose your N, L, M, S. Okay, so suppose your all the 3 are present, suppose your 2s. So N equal to 2, L equal 0, 0, 0. Okay, so M equal what? 0, 0, 0. S your plus half, minus half. Again, third one can be plus half or minus half. Suppose I take plus half. So if I take plus half, now you will see the E1 200 plus half, E3 again 200 plus half. That means the setup quantum number value for E1 and E3 both the two becomes equal, which is not possible according to Pauli's principle. That means the 3 electrons cannot be present in an orbital. Okay, so because if I put another one, the 2 electrons quantum number values becomes identical. Okay, that means more than 2 electrons in an orbital is not possible. So Pauli's principle excludes the possibility of accumulation of more than 2 electrons in an atom. Hence it is called Pauli's exclusion principle. Okay. Electrons are called as a universal constituent of all metals. Why? See, electrons we can take out from any metal, by any method. Whatever kind of method you adapt to, whatever kind of metal you take, the E by M ratio of the electron always constant. That's why electrons are the fundamental particles and are the universal constituent of all matter. Okay. Now write the quantum numbers values of the highest energy electrons of sodium atom. See, if I take sodium atom, sodium Na11, okay, Na11, what you know? 1s2, 2s2, 2p6e, 3s1. 2, 2, 4, 6, 10, 1, 11. So 1s2, 2s2, 2p6e, 3s1. We know if you move away from the nucleus, the energy is going on increasing. So here between 1s, 2s, 2p and 3s, now 3s will have the highest energy. Okay, so we have to find out what, write the quantum numbers values of the highest energy electron of sodium. So who is the highest energy electron? This one, 3s1. Okay, therefore n is equal to 3. Because S is there, L equal what? 0. When L is 0, so M what? 0 or S equal what? Plus or minus half. Okay, so the highest energy electron of sodium, okay, that your 3s1 will have a quantum number value n equal to 3, L 0, M 0 and S 0 plus or minus half. Next. Which set of quantum number is allowed? This case you see. See, if I see here n equal to 1, if n is equal to 1, if n equal to 1, then L will be what? 0 to n minus 1. That means see 0 to 1 minus 1, that is 0. So for one value of n, L must be 0. But here L given 1, this is not possible. Now n equal to 2, L equal to, again see, if n equal to 2, then L will be 0 to n minus 1, that is 0, 1. Okay, but here given 2, it's also what? Not possible. Now n equal to 3, L equal to 2. So when n equal to 3, L equal to 0 to n minus 1, so 0, 1, 2 is possible. And when n equal to 2, then m equal to what? Minus L to plus L, so can be minus 2, 0, plus 2, so it is possible. But when n equal to 3, L equal to 4 is not possible, because L equal to what? 0 to n minus 1. Okay, but here what? Given 4, n plus 1 is not possible. Okay. Similarly, which subcell is not possible? 2D, 4F, 6P, 3. You see, here you see 2D. 2 means n equal to 2. If n equal to 2, then L equal to what? 0 and 1. Because L equal to 0 to n minus 1, so it can be your S or P. That means we can have a 2S or 2P. We don't have a 2D. 4F, because n equal to 4 here, so L equal to 0 to n minus 1, so 0, 1, 2, 3. So S, P, D, F possible. 6P, because n equal to 6 here, so L equal to 0 to 5. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That means it can be S, P, D, F, G, etc. So it's also possible. 6P possible. Okay. 3S with the n equal to 3 here, so L equal to 0 to n minus 1, so 0 to 3 minus 1, 0, 1, 2. Okay. That means what? S, P, D. So 3S is possible. Okay. So next arrange with increasing order of energy. So arrange this order also with having what? The highest energy. So you see n, and we can compare the energy by your n plus L rule. So here n equal to 4, L equal to 1. So 4 plus 1, 4. So I can take n plus L. Okay. What do you do? 4, it is what do you do? N equal to 4, L1. So what do you do? 4P. Similarly, 4, 0, n equal to 4, L equal to 0. So 4 plus 0 equal to what? 4. Okay. 4S. So n equal to 3, L equal to 2. So 3 plus 2 is 5. Okay, 5, and we know 3D. This is what you know? 3D. Similarly, n equal to 3, L equal to 1. So 3 plus 1 is 4. That is what you know? 3P. Okay, so because the energy is the highest for your 3D, this one, and we have to arrange the energy with increasing order of energy. So which is the slowest energy? This is 4. This is your 4P. So 4 plus 1 is your 5, and this is your 4, 0, 4, 3, 1, 4. Because here 4S and 3P both have the same value of n plus L. So n value highest, then energy highest. Okay, so the lowest is 3P. This one is 3P. Lowest. Then we will come to here see here 4 plus 0, 4. So 4S Okay, then what here the 4 plus 1 5, 3 plus 2 5. Okay, so here the both are having the same value of 5, but here the n value is 4, so more energy. So 3D. Okay, then what is the 4P. Okay, so this is the order of increasing of energy. So there is some typical questions. Many questions are there in the materials that you solve it, and whenever you come to this next doubt clearance class, okay, so there we will have, if you have any questions on that we can discuss. Okay, thank you.